In 1971, Nobel Prize-winning economist Herbert Simon established an axiom that defines our current era. In a world rich with information, that wealth inherently creates a poverty of attention. Information, he deduced, consumes the focus of its recipients. Because human focus is strictly finite, an overabundance of information sources necessitates the hyper-efficient allocation of that attention. This scarcity has turned human focus into the limiting factor in both cognitive health and economic exchange. Harvard scholar Shoshana Zuboff identifies this shift as surveillance capitalism. It marks a move away from industrial production toward a system fueled by the extraction of what she calls behavioral surplus. Behavioral surplus is generated through every granular interaction. Clicks, hovers, pauses, and scrolling patterns are continuously monitored, aggregated, and fed into predictive machine learning models to shape user behavior. In this system, attention is no longer a byproduct of digital interaction. It is the core product. Our subjective human experience serves as the raw material for a market that has largely moved past traditional industrial models. To maintain this flow of raw material, platforms employ specific psychological tactics calibrated to trigger dopamine loops. Features like infinite scrolls and autoplay functions are calculated design choices intended to override a user's capacity for self-regulation. Generative AI functions as a synthetic accelerator in this economy. By driving the marginal cost of content production towards zero, it enables an exponential oversupply of media designed to compete for our finite attention. This has given rise to AI slop, low-quality, high-volume digital content generated with minimal care. Characterized by bizarre aesthetics and repetitive themes, this content is engineered specifically to fill feeds and hold focus long enough to capture data. The sheer volume of this synthetic media is blurring the perception of objective reality. When algorithmically generated images flood social timelines, it disrupts the transmission of meaning and erodes the trust required for a shared social order. These environments function as hostile architectures. By prioritizing engagement metrics over human well-being, they're designed to systematically bypass self-regulation and capture cognitive sovereignty. The relentless demand for continuous engagement has resulted in widespread cognitive exhaustion. This digital fatigue manifests as a measurable shift in how audiences interact with the digital world. Data shows over 70% of social media usage is now entirely passive. Users simply scroll and observe. This passivity directly correlates with psychological distress, linking extended use to increased loneliness and anxiety, as individuals view idealized lives without authentic connection. Constant context switching strains the human cognitive system. Checking a smartphone nearly 180 times a day undermines deep focus and increases task completion time by up to 50%. Introducing symptoms that resemble clinical attention disorders. The move toward passive observation reflects an involuntary shutdown of a cognitive system, straining against an environment it was never evolved to navigate. Algorithms monetize this state of depletion by weaponizing social comparison. By triggering the fear of missing out, or FOMO, platforms draw users into cycles of status-driven, materialistic competition. This is most visible in hyper-personalized short-form video feeds. These algorithms continuously learn from user inputs to serve a steady stream of microtrends that exploit human susceptibility to peer pressure. The efficacy of this social proof translates into massive consumer shifts. Driven by viral trends, Stanley Cup revenues grew from $73 million in 2019 to $750 million in 2023, almost entirely through algorithmic momentum. This overstimulation poses an acute risk to early childhood development. Young children lack the attentional control to resist infinite feeds, which displace the slow-paced, real-world experiences necessary for healthy brain wiring. From toddlers to adults, the primary byproduct of the attention economy is a generation of users suffering from a profound shortage of meaning. A demographic shift is currently rebalancing the relationship between humans and their screens. As digital fatigue becomes virtually ubiquitous, more users are seeking ways to reclaim their mental health and time. Survey data supports the shift. 81% of Generation Z individuals report wishing it were easier to disconnect from their devices. This has led 1 in 5 consumers to adopt active digital detoxes, such as muting notifications or performing app cleanses. Users are also building physical barricades against the algorithm. Searches for dumb phones and flip phones have surged by up to 50% since 2021, as people seek devices that lack the capacity for infinite scrolling. Reverting to single-purpose technologies, like dedicated MP3 players or e-readers, creates a friction-filled barrier against doom scrolling. These devices provide utility while stripping away the push notifications that trigger compulsive smartphone habits. This return of touch movement emphasizes tactile, offline experiences. Over 80% of younger consumers now report that touching and feeling products is essential to their decisions, favoring the physical world over digital immersion. Migrating to analog technology establishes a tactical defense against cognitive capture, replacing frictionless digital consumption with intentional physical interaction. Reclaiming time hasn't resulted in the total abandonment of the internet, but it has triggered an architectural shift. Users are migrating away from public algorithm-first platforms into what is called the cozy web. These are private digital burrows, invite-only Discord servers, and encrypted group chats. By locking out bots and algorithmic feeds, these spaces prioritize authentic, intimate connection over performative brand spectacle. Because individual willpower is often insufficient against a trillion-dollar industry, momentum is building for systemic change. Advocates argue that manipulative user experiences are fundamentally incompatible with democratic well-being. New York's Safe for Kids Act represents a landmark in this regulatory push. It treats algorithmic recommendations as potentially dangerous products, prohibiting platforms from delivering addictive feeds to minors without parental consent. Similar initiatives are moving forward in states like Illinois and Utah. These laws aim to dismantle engagement metrics by restricting default location tracking, banning autoplay features, and suppressing the algorithms designed for infinite extraction. Establishing true cognitive sovereignty requires this dual approach: aggressive structural regulation of the platforms, combined with a deeply intentional return to the physical world.